So we are going to use ChatGPT today with their voice model for 4.0. Hey, we're going to do a role play for selling inbound voice AI to service providers. I want you to be an HVAC contractor, and we're going to start with the cold call.
Got it. I'll play the role of an HVAC contractor. Let's jump right into it. You can start whenever you're ready.
Hi, this is Justin with Firebringer AI. We are a provider of AI solutions for busy service providers such as yourself. And I'll keep it real quick, it's just an introductory call. Are you guys currently implementing AI?
Hey, Justin, nice to meet you. No, we're not using any AI right now. Honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start with something like that. We've got our hands full just keeping up with service calls. What exactly does your AI do?
So we have an inbound voice AI. It's basically like a customer service agent that is really smart and can answer questions, which would reduce a lot of the burden on you guys for general troubleshooting. And then it can also assess whether it's a call that you guys want to have booked or not necessarily have booked, and it can determine that and pass those right calls on to you. So it's basically going to reduce a lot of your effort and labor, as well as missing opportunities that come in when you can't get to the phone. I don't want to try and sell it to you. It stopped hearing
That
me.
actually sounds pretty interesting. We do get swamped with calls, especially during peak seasons, and sometimes it's tough to keep up. So this AI could handle basic troubleshooting and decide if the customer needs a service call. Does it integrate with any scheduling systems we might already use?
It may, we'd have to take a look at what you're using and look into it. But even if it doesn't directly integrate, we could always, get a call to their tech team and hook up the APIs, is what it's called. It's a fancy term for making one piece of software talk to another. Let me ask you, I'm not trying to sell it on the phone. I've got a lot of these calls to make today. Can we get 15 minutes, say next Tuesday at 10? And I can ask a little bit about what you guys are currently doing and see if and where I could add some value.
Yeah, that sounds doable. Tuesday at 10 should work. I'm always looking for ways to lighten the load around here. If this could really cut down on the time we spend on calls, it might be worth checking out. Let's pencil it in, and we'll take a closer look at what you've got.
I'll get you an email invite. I've got this address, john at abchvac.com. Is that accurate?
Yep, that's the correct email. I'll keep an eye out for the invite. Looking forward to hearing more about how this could work for us.
Give me a strengths and weaknesses assessment of that call.
Sure. Here's a breakdown of the strengths and weaknesses of that call. Strengths. 1. Concise and direct approach. You got straight to the point, quickly explaining what Firebringer AI does without overwhelming the prospect. This is great in a cold call because it respects the prospect's time. 2. Clear value proposition. You clearly articulated how the inbound voice AI can help, specifically targeting pain points like call overload and missed opportunities. This was personalized to an HVAC contractor's needs, which shows relevance. 3. Handled objections. Well, when asked about integration, you didn't give a vague answer. Instead, you confidently explained the process of connecting systems via APIs, which gave credibility and showed a willingness to solve problems. 4. Smooth transition to next steps. You didn't push too hard for a sale on the spot, which was good. You focused on securing a meeting for a more in-depth conversation, which is key in cold outreach. Weaknesses. 1. Integration uncertainty. While you handled the API explanation well, saying it may integrate might leave the prospect feeling uncertain. You could reframe that by saying, we've worked with a lot of different systems, and if it's not a direct integration, we'll figure out a way to make it work seamlessly. 2. Lack of specificity. The AI benefits were mentioned, but you could have included more specifics. For example, you could elaborate on how much time it typically saves businesses, or any metrics on how it improves customer satisfaction or lead conversion rates. 3. Missed opportunity to create urgency. While the call was friendly and laid back, you could have subtly created more urgency, like mentioning peak seasons coming up or how missing calls directly impacts revenue. This might nudge the prospect to act sooner. Overall, it was a solid call. Tweaking the messaging slightly around integrations and adding a bit of urgency or specific value metrics could make it even stronger.
Let's go to the discovery call.
Great. Let's dive into the discovery call. I'll continue as the HVAC contractor, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Hey, Tom, thanks for meeting with me again today. Just real quick, want to lay out an agenda. We're going to go over what you're currently doing for handling customer calls, handling client calls. We'll take a look at what that looks like currently, and then we'll make some educated guesses as to what that outcome would be if we implement these systems. And then I'm going to give you a chance to ask any questions you might have. And at the end of those questions, if we both feel it's a fit on both sides, we can decide to take next steps together. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair, Justin. I like the straightforward approach. We've been handling calls ourselves or with an answering service during busy periods, but it's not always consistent. Sometimes calls fall through the cracks, especially after hours. I'm curious to see how your AI could help with that.
So the AI is going to answer 24/7. And having had to call an HVAC guy myself a few times and get an answering service, that's not actually much help for the customer because I might as well leave a voicemail because they're not able to provide any answers. All they can do is leave a message for you to call back. What I'd like to look at is your current situation as far as the strengths of either the answering service or the voicemail. Were there any positives to either of those systems for you?
Yeah, I'd say the answering service has been helpful in one way. It at least gives customers a live person to talk to, even if it's just to leave a message. It makes us seem a bit more professional than sending them straight to voicemail. But, like you said, they can't really answer any questions or help with troubleshooting. Voicemails are convenient in the sense that we can check them on our own time, but they don't do much to keep customers engaged or solve their issues right away. The main problem is that both options still lead to delays in follow-up, especially during off hours or when we're swamped. If someone has an urgent issue and we don't get back quickly, they might just call another company. That's where we've seen a drop in potential business.
So then let me ask you this. If you were to have a system in place that still felt like engaging with a human, it could answer questions and have a dynamic conversation, but also you could very easily train it on standard troubleshooting problems, standard operations and procedures for what needs to be a service call, what can be handled over the phone, and when there's an actual emergency type of situation where when that occurs, where it's definitely we need to call you, we could actually set it up to send you a text message through this automation as well. Would that be something that would help resolve those challenges that you've had on both sides?
That actually sounds like a game changer. If it could handle basic troubleshooting and determine when a service call is really needed, that would definitely cut down on wasted time for us and keep the customers happy by getting immediate answers and the text alerts for urgent issues. Now, that would be really useful. We've missed a few of those critical calls before, and this could help us jump on them right away. If it's as easy to train as you're saying, I can definitely see it being a huge improvement over what we have now.
So then let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being kick bricks and 10 being let's do this thing, where are you at as far as working with me?
I'd say I'm at about an 8. It sounds really promising, and I can definitely see how it would help us streamline things. I just want to get a little more clarity on how the setup process would look and any potential disruptions before I fully commit. But overall, I'm pretty interested.
So what would you need to see, hear, or experience to take you from that 8 to that 10?
I think what would really help is understanding how long the setup would take and what kind of support we'd have during the process. Also, I'd want to make sure there's minimal disruption to our current call flow, especially during peak times. If I could see a demo or example of how the system has worked for another service provider like us, that would definitely boost my confidence.
So if I could let you know that the setup is going to take maybe an hour to 2 hours, and it's a one-time setup, I could also provide some case studies to show how this has improved results for other HVAC companies around the world. And I could provide a demo where you could actually call it up and have it answer a few troubleshooting questions and do that process. Those three things would push you to a 10?
Yeah, if you can show me that the setup is quick and easy, plus give me a real world example with a demo and case studies, that would definitely push me to a 10. It sounds like a smooth process, and seeing it in action would seal the deal for me.
So it's going to take me about 7 days to build out the system for you once you provide your SOPs and some brand information. And with that 7 days, I will have it all set up so that it takes no more than 2 hours to set up for you. But I have a demo right now that you can call. You can actually make this phone call right now if you got your cell phone, and give it a shot, give it a run through. And I actually did bring a case study on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and email that to you right now. And you'll see if you look at this case study that it increased sales by 20% and reduced time spent by administration by like 60%. So here's the demo number. It's 555 da 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 da. You can go ahead and give that a call now.
That sounds perfect, Justin. I'll go ahead and give the demo a try right now, and I'll take a look at that case study as soon as it comes through. If everything checks out the way you've described, I think we'll be ready to move forward. Appreciate you laying everything out so clearly.
Now assume that the case study was good and read, and that the demo was good and went off without a hitch.
All right, Justin. I went through the demo, and it worked just like you said it would. The case study was also really impressive. Those results are exactly what we're looking for. I'm ready to move forward. What's the next step to get this rolling?
I'm going to shoot you over a Stripe invoice to that email, and then I'm going to ask you to email me your current SOPs for handling calls, any documentation that you have about how to communicate with your customers, and I'll get that built out in the next 7 days.
That sounds good to me. I'll keep an eye out for the invoice, and I'll gather up our SOPs and customer communication docs to send over today. Looking forward to seeing how this works out.
Give me a strengths and weaknesses assessment of that call.
Here's a strengths and weaknesses assessment of the discovery call. Strengths. 1. Clear agenda and structure. You set expectations right at the start, outlining the process and ensuring both sides could assess fit before committing to next steps. This creates trust and keeps the call focused. 2. Tailored solution. You effectively address the HVAC contractor's pain points. Missed calls, inconsistent service, and wasted time on non-urgent calls. Your solution directly targeted these challenges, which makes your offering highly relevant. 3. Engagement and active listening. You asked about the current systems and acknowledged the contractor's pain points, which made your responses feel more tailored. This kept the conversation flowing naturally. 4. Scalable value proposition. You emphasized time savings, seamless integration, and real-time notifications for urgent matters, which made the benefits clear and impactful, particularly for an overworked service provider. 5. Overcame objections. When faced with the contractor's concerns about setup time and disruption, you responded with concrete solutions, explaining the short setup time and offering a demo, case studies, and real-world examples. This built credibility. 6. Secured commitment. You skillfully closed by providing immediate next steps, invoice and documentation, and clearly set the stage for the implementation timeline. Weaknesses. 1. Limited specific metrics. Earlier on, while you brought out a case study later in the conversation, introducing similar metrics earlier, e.g., we've seen a 20% increase in sales with similar businesses, could have established even stronger credibility sooner. 2. Potential overload on next steps. At the end, you asked for several pieces of information, SOPs, documentation, etc., and introduced a Stripe invoice, which could feel like a lot at once. You might streamline this by asking for one action at a time, e.g., once you've sent over your SOPs, I'll follow up with the invoice and start working on your system. 3. Lack of clarification on ongoing support. While you addressed setup time and process well, you could have elaborated more on post-setup support. For example, explaining if there's ongoing monitoring, updates, or troubleshooting support could build additional confidence in the system's longevity. Overall, it was a strong call, very persuasive and customer-focused. Minor tweaks, like incorporating key metrics earlier and simplifying the end action steps, would further enhance the delivery.
Would that have been a 2-call close?
Yes, that was a 2-call close. You did an excellent job of setting up the initial cold call to secure the discovery meeting. And then, during the discovery call, you provided enough information, built trust, and addressed the contractor's concerns to move them toward a buying decision. By offering a demo and case study during the second call, you successfully closed the deal without needing further follow-ups. The smooth flow from identifying the problem, presenting a solution, and handling objections, all within those 2 calls, makes this an efficient and effective 2-call close.
So that's it right there. You've got a 2-call close system. You're going to do your cold call, set an appointment. You're going to get 80% voicemails, 80% no answers, which is something you want, actually. In fact, I probably could come up with a voicemail script that would get you a very high response rate. And then the second call, it's all about the discovery. The demo was the last 5 minutes, 2 minutes of that call. Of a, looks like it was maybe an 8-9 minute call. The demo was just the last couple of minutes, because you don't need the demo to close. You need the discovery. You need to ask the right questions and get them to see the solution as their own concept. That's it. That's how you close them. Hope that helps.